Welcome, everyone, to a beautiful March 21st day. It is springtime, as I believe March 21st is my half birthday, and it anoints the passage of winter to spring. With that, there's the Spring Festival. It's a 5-round tournament, 90 plus 5, and I'm going to just give a little spoiler. I'm filming this after my second round game. I opted to take a third round bye because frankly, 3 games of classical chess in one day is a little too taxing for me. I'm not gonna lie. 2 is perfect, like a morning night kind of thing. So I played 2 today, and I'm gonna play 2 tomorrow. But I really don't think I have 3 in me in a day. I'm gonna be honest. I think my play suffers, my mood suffers. Going back and forth at the chess club. Also, because the way rounds are set up, you kind of have to give yourself enough time to in between round 1 and 2 and 3. For like the longest game to finish, because it's not fair to start the next round immediately after like somebody just finishes. But that means if you play like a faster game, in like round 2, you guys will see my opponent was a young kid. He used literally like 20 minutes. There's just hours before the next round. And because I live, best case scenario, 20 minutes from the chess club. It's really annoying to go back and go forth. So for example, this game, I made it to the chess club on time. Actually, it was a little bit early. But I forgot my glasses. So I played my first round game without glasses. Now, for all of you watching, I can see great, but I have astigmatism in both eyes, actually. So anytime I focus and concentrate, if I don't have my glasses, I actually get a pretty bad headache. However, I was already at the chess club. There was no time for me to run back and get my glasses. So I pretty much just kind of had to, suffer, staring at the board. It genuinely gives me headaches. If you guys care, the little preamble, you guys can skip this, obviously. But when I realized I needed glasses was when I was a poker player, high-stakes poker player. This is a long time ago at this point. And I was in Vegas. I lived in Vegas every summer. And I was playing at the Rio. So at the time, the World Series was held at the Rio, and there were really fantastic cash games. So the game that I played a lot was known as 10-25. So the average buy-in is several thousand for each person. And sometimes, pots can be very, very, very big. Anyway, I am a very loose, aggressive player, and I had what I thought was ace-10 suited. And here's where, the reason I needed glasses. And I raised from early position. I got 2 calls, which is fantastic. I got some kind of flop where it was like ace-high. I was like value betting. The river comes at 10. I think I make top 2, and I make a huge value bet. And I'm like, this is awesome. There's one fish. He's going to just call me with anything. And he calls. And I'm like, yeah! And I table my hand. And I fucking ace-9. And he outkicks me. And I look like a moron, number 1. But number 2, as he's raking in the pot, I realized, I misread my hand because I couldn't see it. Because, the glasses. So at that point, that pot cost me, literally thousands of dollars. I forget how big it was. I don't think it actually was, a massive pot. It wasn't, an all-in pot. I think it was a bet on flop or bet on the river, something like that. But 3 ways, probably a $2,000 pot. I'll say that. And I realized that I literally just couldn't see my hand right. And I had a headache, and it's dark, and I couldn't really read my hand. So I got up after that. I was like, okay, I got to stop for the day. Not that I was on tilt, but again, not being able to see your hand is a big problem. Anyway, needless to say, after that summer, I went back. I got glasses, and I always wear them when I'm doing anything involving concentration. So generally when I watch TV, when I'm on my computer, filming these recaps, playing chess. Also while I'm driving. So I actually need glasses in a lot of situations. I just don't need them just walking around or obviously playing sports or working out or, just cooking, for example. Anyway, that's a long preamble. The point is, against Kai Solter, I didn't have my glasses, and I was hoping that it wasn't going to bother me too much, but obviously it did a little bit. Oh, a little bit of other preamble. This tournament, there's a big prize pool. There's 2 sections. My friend Ryan commented that's very strange that the section I'm playing is under 1850, but I suspect it's because Steven, who's one of the main dudes at the Boylston, is 1800. It's his floor, and I think he wants to play in this 1850, the under. So I suspect that because it's very rare to have an under 1850 rather than 1800 or 1900. Normally, almost universally, they always do it at the 0-0, and I bet it's because he wanted to play in this section, and I can't blame him. First prize for the lower section is $500 or something. I've been keeping track of my chess finances. I'm going to let you all in another spoiler. If I win this tournament, I will basically break even for my entire chess hobby over the last 8 months. I've spent about about $500, as far as all the tournament entries and stuff. Obviously, I've won a few tournaments, but you win very little. So it's crazy. But winning this tournament, I could actually be back, baby, completely like net even, which would be really phenomenal. All right, that's a long preamble. Hopefully, you guys enjoy the story. Let's get into the game. My opponent's Kai Solter. I think he seemed like a college-age student, maybe a grad student. He was wearing some kind of graphic tee, like anime. I know he's played a bunch of weekend tournaments, but I think in the quads and stuff, we've probably missed each other because I'm probably one quad or two quads higher in general. I'm about 400 points stronger. But of course, as you guys know, my form in March has been like pretty mediocre at best. So I went into this thinking that I really need to put away these opponents and let's do our best. So we played d4, d5. I follow up. I've been doing, obviously, Jobava. Again, Jamie said that he thought that I play the Catalan better. He really got me thinking about my openings as white. Honestly, this year, my opening, honestly, I've had very good results as white this year. I think I've literally one loss. Obviously, the game against Jamie was trash. But I don't think I really want to deviate yet because I've been having a lot of success with the Jobava. Anyway, but it is interesting that maybe he thinks that the purely positional games of, long diagonal better suits my style. I think he's right. Nonetheless, I get BF5, which knows the Albert defense. The Albertsons defense. And the truth is, I haven't actually studied this. I know about it. I know that the basic idea is they end up getting this bishop to defend this pawn. I know that's very crazy, but the reason why is black basically pushes e6. They pin the knight, and then if I look for the typical, motif of the Jobava, which is attacking the c-pawn, they actually retreat the bishop. And this is how a lot of top-level games go against the Jobava. It's a very good defense for black. In fact, black equalizes. I didn't know if he knew the cutting theory, and the truth is I haven't studied this one. I've spent all my time on, knight f6, which is the main lines of the Jobava. As I learn openings, I get more esoteric, but because this position is only reached, 15% of the time, I haven't really spent any time studying it. So I knew the basic ideas, but I wasn't, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't really sure what I was supposed to do. I figured I'd still go into the typical setup. I learned afterward that you're actually supposed to do the immediate f3, which is good answering this, so that actually not to play g4, which is the typical setup to get them to backtrack and then get a huge kingside attack, but so that you can actually threaten e4 right away. And it makes sense. You just want, d4, e4, you want those that center, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, didn't happen, doesn't matter. I was a little bit shaky in the opening, but it doesn't matter that much. He plays e6. He's delaying knight f6, which is annoying for me because I want to just bang-a-ring a bing-bong. And I decide, okay, this position's a little bit different than the typical setup, but knight b5 still seems pretty accurate because it forces the Albertsons line, which is best line, but a lot of players don't play the best line, and I know that if they play knight a6, it's a little bit weaker, and if they play bishop d6, it's a little bit weaker. So obviously I'm hoping for one of those two variations, but Kai doesn't. I think Kai played like a superstar in the opening. He said he didn't really know what he was doing, but it kind of goes to show that, even lower-rated players, like someone who's like 1,200 or 1,300, obviously, okay, I'm going to make a broad sweeping statement. Hopefully you guys that watch this, maybe around this level, maybe better, can kind of agree with me. But a 1,300 overall is obviously not going to play great, right? Like, they're going to make plenty of mistakes. But it's very possible as well for like a 1,300 to play to just rip 12 moves of theory. I've seen it happen many times. A good example is against Jamie, actually. I've played him so many times. Jamie, I think right now is a little bit higher than this rating. He's in the 1,400s. But sometimes he'll play bad moves, obviously. Sometimes he'll miss tactics, blah, blah, blah. But I've also seen him play 10, computer moves in a row. And that's a 1,200 is capable of that. Anyway, I'm not sure what I'm even saying with all that. The point is, this opening kind of played itself. You guys can notice that this pawn is pinned, but it's doing a great job, this bishop, defending the c7 square. I don't have the typical tactic. And if anything, my knight might be a little bit off sides. So when he goes bishop a5, I realize I need to just play for e3, protect the knight, and if he bounces me, I have to retreat to this very silly square. a3, which means my knight's going to be out of the game. And I kind of assumed, in fact, that's what he does. He blasts me. There's no move in this position. And I kind of assumed, not that I did anything wrong. This is just like what Grandmasters play against Jabava a lot, the Albert defense. And it's like, I mean, I'll turn on the analysis. I'm pretty sure I've analyzed this position before. Yeah, and actually black. It's not even that white is even slightly better or equalized. Black is already better. So if you guys see this, it's minus 0.2. And the truth is, when we reach this position at the board, I actually kind of knew this. I don't know what my mistake was, but I just know that the Albert defense is a really good answer to Jabava. Not a lot of people play it, and I haven't like brushed up on my theory. But when we got to this position at the board, you know, he spent all of 7 minutes. That's it. I knew that this wasn't the opening I wanted. Now the idea though is they're supposed to play knight d7. I'm hoping for, you know, little cheeses, little cheesy. Queen a4 checks to, like, you know, pick up the bishop. Obviously they can always block now with the knight, and then everything is defended. But that's like one of the little tricks and ticks of the position. So he's got to be a little bit careful. However, Kai plays a very natural move. It's also the best move. Knight f6. I'm going to turn the engine back off, but this is clearly a very good move. He is totally developed. He's preparing castling, and I'm going to be honest, again, 7 moves deep. It's not a good sign when the opening is probably the strongest part of the game for me, and we reach this position, and like it's not good when you know the opening is not that good for you. So like we got to this position. He was like swimming upstream without a paddle. He doesn't know the position, but I do, and I knew that this was at best zeros. As is the case, it's minus 0.2, which is really nothing to like be afraid of. But I was like, kind of like, ah, damn, he didn't fall for any of the little tricks I actually really have to work. I've got to work it. There's a million moves in this setup that are all very reasonable. I'm going to turn off the engine now. I'm just kind of curious how they view my move. And I fall back on the idea of playing f3 to prepare g4. Apparently, it's not one of the best candidate moves, so I'm kind of wondering what the response is. Yeah, it's good. But as you guys can tell, it's, like, black is just better. So I'm kind of like, we did analyze together after a little bit. He wanted to go get Chipotle, so we didn't spend long. But I told him, I said, Kai, you played the opening very well. You not only equalized, you were actually slightly better here. And he's like, oh, thanks. Like, that's good to know. And the reason why is after knight b, d7, black's knights are connected. He's got a little bit of pressure where this pawn is not really defended. And I'm a little bit slow to get my, like, advance and whatnot. Nonetheless, I saw no reason not to just go for it for kingside expansion. I played g4. Obviously, there's no places along this diagonal that the bishop can go other than g6. Not surprisingly, he doesn't blunder. He plays g6. And I just carry through with h5. My idea is I'm trying to get rolling. Rolling. Keep them rolling, right, something like that. Yeah. And unfortunately, like, there's 2 moves for black, and they're both good. So black is already just a bit better. Looks like h5 is better. I actually do know this, that the h5 immediately is stronger, and it's what he plays. So, like, again, he's going move for move with me, Kai's playing well. With h5, and it's funny, I obviously pushed g5, and like at the analysis afterward, he was like, of course I played g5, and this is exactly the position we reached. I played g5, and he goes back to g8, and again, I know that this is nothing special for white, but on the analysis after, he was like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, it seemed like you just had everything. He's like, I had to backwards develop, and my pieces are in disarray. You have all this space. But the truth is, black is just better here. I actually do know this. I know that this is nothing special for white, and I've kind of bungled it up a little bit. Okay, it does look like the computer likes my moves here. Bishop d3, cool. All right, let's turn off the analysis now. Yeah, and so I'm just trying to, like, fight for what's right. I look at my position. Obviously, these pieces are not developed yet. This knight's out of play. I don't really have an attack. I'm not ready to split open the center. Things are not going the way I wanted them to go. I could cry, but I'm not going to. Instead, I play bishop d3, the best move in the position, thinking that we're going to just trade, which prepares me to queenside castle. But I think he plays a better move. He plays knight e7, just kind of getting it back in the game. And now, obviously, if I take, he retakes, and then he's immediately threatening my bishop. My bishop is under attack. For the record, I've used 13 minutes. That's it. He's used 15 minutes. We're kind of keeping pace with one another. But I do a big thing here for 6 minutes, it looks like. And the reason why is I saw takes, and then I realized I could, I had to develop my knight to support the bishop. I don't quite have this move, because then he can actually take, and I don't really have threat here. And I considered developing the knight first, but I thought if I developed the knight first, that's worse for me. Why did I think that was worse for me? I thought I was worried about c5 ideas, maybe, or I was worried about him just taking. I'm curious here, because I end up taking, and I'm kind of curious what the computer wants here. They like knight c2, just getting this knight back into the game. I didn't really consider it. Knight e2, which is another move that I was considering, and then trades is fine. Okay, a lot of moves are fine here. It's just black is better. All right, well, good to know. I don't really need to belabor this point. I trade, he takes back with the knight, and yeah, we arrived at this position. I now play knight e2, thinking that he shouldn't trade, because I really want my knight here. But thank God he makes what I believe is the first mistake of the game for him, which is he trades knights. He lets my knight get into a great position, and now I have real threat of g6, because if I can dislodge this pawn, then if you notice, this e6 pawn becomes undefended. Like, jumping in here, like, this is a nasty, nasty knight. He obviously can't take, and a lot of lines, if I take back actually on g6, I will immediately be attacking this rook, and there's also openings to the h-pawn. So all of a sudden, I went from not loving my position to really liking it again, thinking that now I've, like, regained initiative, that I thought that was a big positional mistake for him to trade there. And once I was able to land my knight in the middle of the board here, that's like objective one. My minor pieces are developed. They're in the game. My knight's very good. Next up, develop this one, king safety, and get my rooks in. So I'm just trying to, like, piecemeal a plan of attack. He thought for a while on this move. No, he didn't. He thought for a while on the next move. Okay, he spent a minute on this one. The next one he spent a while, actually. But this one he just kind of, like, goes queen e7. I wasn't sure where he wanted to go with this queen. If anything, it actually sets up a fork now. So I really didn't like that move for him. I'm not sure what his best move is in that situation anyway. So, like, maybe, maybe he's just worse at this point. But I was happy to see it. Once queen e7 is played, yeah, I play knight d. No, I don't. Move 16. Oh, he was telling me he played this because he's looking at the sack. Right, which obviously I see. Which, if you guys can calculate, if I do some random move, rook h2, which actually is not completely random because it prepares to double, but nonetheless, something, irrelevant. Basically, my sister's sending me recipes now. That's nice. I'll look at that one later. He wants to play takes, where all of a sudden he wins a pawn and he gets infiltration and just destroys my queen side. I'm eyeing this square. I'm eyeing queen b3. I didn't think it does much because I thought him getting his knight to b6 was a given because he probably wants to jump it into c4. It also prevents me from checking him on a4 because of his knight's defending. And I'm always looking if he, like, dislodges this knight in a silly manner. I obviously have the tactic checking him and picking up the bishop. So I realized I needed to move my I either needed to move my knight or my queen. I didn't think I had any other move here. Actually, that's not true. I briefly considered castles and letting him sack, and I thought it was interesting. Bear with me here, the line that I did calculate, because I did spend, this was my first think of the game. Yeah, I spent 7 minutes on this move, actually. So this is my second real think. I did think a while about the bishop d3 line, but I did see a wild move of castles, takes, and then basically doubling up and trying to gun him down on the b file. I'm curious if it's any good or if my instincts are wrong here. Actually, I'm going to turn on the analysis because I gave strong consideration for, like, the pawn sack opening up with castles. I'm just curious if it's out of this. Okay, I'm out of my mind. Out of my mind. They like queen a4. I thought if I go queen a4, it's just so natural for them to go the bishop back. Yeah, apparently that is my best line forward. I play queen c2, which seemed fine as well. Again, now I can go either way. just so you guys can see, just because I'm kind of curious about this line here. Maybe not there because I dropped this pawn. I just was looking like anywhere to just get initiative, and I thought my king was actually safe if I play like king g2. Some situation, something like this. I ended up discarding it because I didn't think it was worth a pawn. But I thought with him in the middle of the board, just kind of like with only a stranded queen, that maybe he'd be a little bit out of tune. And I could maybe just win the pawn back, like if he castles or moves the rook in, then I'm still gonna threaten to win that pawn. I don't know. That's at least that was like the vague idea. Look, when you do things, you think of random moves, and sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad. As long as you just discard the bad moves, you're good. All right, queen c2. I throw it on down there. He just shrugs, and this is where he spent 6 minutes. Yeah, he spent a while on this move. And he thought for a long time, and he just ends up castling. And he's kind of giving up on like the sacrifice ideas. They don't quite work. Obviously now, if he just takes, I just take with the queen. And he just is down a piece. So that would be nice for me. But I look at this. I still consider kingside castling. I decide, all right, whatever. Let's just queenside castle. We'll play like kings and queens on the same side of the board. Anyway, he thinks again for another 7 minutes. So between move 15 and 19, Kai used 30 some odd minutes. So basically, he used like 35 minutes on these 4 moves. So these were kind of all key moves for him. And I think that he kind of dug himself a little bit of a hole. Only a little bit, but he did. And he plays this move, queen d6, which again, I didn't understand. I don't know where it's going. He told me that he wanted to watch the knight to prevent me from playing e4, which makes sense. I mean, now obviously I can't play e4. I can't split it open because boom, 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 my knight hangs. Yeah, I guess that does make sense to do that. I guess I can't argue with that. I spent 6 minutes, and I just played a prophylactic move. I just played king b1. It makes sense, a lot of these lines. I was thinking about ideas of playing c4, kind of splitting them up and trying to gun them down on the king. I wanted to dodge any of these checks. It's just always useful to have the king over. I don't know. It felt like the right move to me. I'm kind of curious if I'm blowing these positions on like slow moves or if they really do add a lot. I also like these moves against low-rated players because it's a waiting move. And when they're kind of unsure like how to lead, sometimes their best thing is just kind of to just chill bra. But like when you have to chill bra, sometimes they chill maw, and that gets them into mistakes. So I think this bishop is okay here. I don't think it's doing more here because, again, just eating granite. And he plays bishop b6. And, again, this is another move where I'm not sure what he's doing. He's not preventing my plan. I actually thought c5 himself had some viability. I also thought he should just prophylaxis, just move his king over too, and just play a pretty symmetrical position. But he doesn't. He wants to do something. I can totally understand that. A lot of times I want to make an active plan. Do stuff. And so I think about it. I'm like, okay, let's calculate. I want to play c4 here. If he takes, that's great. I finally get my knight into the game. I'm accomplishing my tasks. I'm hitting 2 pieces. There's also potential pins, because as you notice, the queen targets the king. And if he doesn't take, I'm threatening c5 for the fork to just win the game. And if he moves it back, like there, then this bishop is super in jail. It's a bad piece. And I'm also threatening to just actually go cd with like takes. And again, then maybe pushing g6 at the right time to weaken this pawn or to jump in. So I'm actually I'm curious what the computer says, because at this point in the game I thought I was just better. Yeah, okay, I'm much better. And c4 is just basically winning. Okay, cool. So it looks like at this point I kind of my tingly senses or my play does match the computer, which is good, because I did calculate. I spent a few minutes on c4. It just seemed again like the best way to get my knight back in the game. The computer actually recommends him going to a7, but again, then he's just in jail. I was thinking I could even actually just play c5 anyway, win tempo on the queen, and there's some lines where I actually want to play c6. Again, just if he bounced his knight away, basically split open his queen side, and I'm actually faster on the attack. There's also some lines where I'm going to maybe get a fork on him. Cool. So I play it. It looked good to me. And yeah, he was clearly upset at this point. And yeah, I mean, if you looked at the computer, white is like plus 1.3 or something. So white has a real advantage here. And I felt it in the game. I felt it. He said he thought he had to take, and I was thrilled with this because when I'm able to go knight takes, I'm hitting both pieces, and he has to actually connect his queen to the bishop because of this pin. I thought that there was a decent chance that he would make a blunder here because I'm threatening, again, different forks, where, again, he won't be able to take, where I don't actually care about this bishop. I was not going to trade this knight for the bishop. I thought this was a bad bishop. It has nowhere to go. It's staring at my d-pawn that's supported. And this is a super active knight. Super active! So I was not going to trade it, unless, of course, I could just win material. So, in any event, that's... so I play and knight takes c4, and he goes queen b4, which I also don't think was a mistake. And I was calculating really hard. I had two candidate moves, either a3 or knight d3. And first off, I thought if I bounced him, it's too easy for him to retreat. And if it's worth pointing out that I am threatening to take this, but right now the knight defends. So I kind of went into my Daniel Naroditsky hat, which is, okay, if I can remove this knight, then I actually can win material. How can I remove the knight? And then I realized if I don't attack him with a3, but rather use the backward knight move, I'm then hitting the knight, the queen. There's also a chance he blunders. Like in that analysis, he said he almost blundered. Where if he then goes queen b5, he loses the game on the spot to knight d6 check. Because as you can tell, he can't take. It's pinned by my queen. I'd be hitting the king, and then boom, I'd pick up the queen. But I saw that from d3, this backwards move, I actually can then bounce into e5, which attacks the knight and attacks the fork. So that if I can remove the knight, I can take this with check. I wasn't sure if it won material, because the line I calculated from here was knight d3. The queen has to retreat to one of these two squares, either e7 or f8. I wasn't sure which was better. And then knight takes knight doesn't quite work. But if I go right, like if he retreats, I go knight takes knight, and then if he can go like king takes or something, then I don't quite have knight takes bishop, because then he has pawn takes. Yes, he'd be kind of ooey gooey, but I think he'd be holding material there. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, I thought that was better than a3, because I thought it was time to reposition. Obviously, I have like the long-term tension with h5, but I thought it made more sense to have this reroute plan. So I did that. Again, I thought there's a small chance he totally blunders and the game ends. But moreover, when he moves queen e7, which he does, now this bishop is really in a tricky spot. I have a lot of threat on him. So I follow through with my plan. I thought I played pretty well at this spot. I don't want to pat myself on the back too much. But knight d to e5 was pretty good. Here again, if he takes, I can take first, possibly. But I wasn't sure that won material, because then he actually moves the king, and he's no longer pinned. So then if I go like pawn takes, he could then go pawn takes. And then it gets kind of complicated. It gets kind of like, interesting, what exactly happens. But yeah, oh, this is an accuracy. Rook c1 was better. Oh, wow. Computer does not like what I did here. In this position, I should actually play the a4. I guess a4, a5. And rook c1 is better. Interesting. I thought I made a great move, because from here I thought I was threatening the fork, or the fork here. Again, hitting queen and rook, or rook and rook. Interesting. Okay, so I actually I made a mistake here. I didn't even know it. because I'm not really threatening the material, because he can then just take back and move his king. All right, that's good to know. I kind of saw that. I used 5 minutes on this, but I guess I just didn't see just the simple rook c1 is a lot better, because then bringing down like the knight is kind of dislodging the defense of the queen, which I kind of understand intuitively now. Anyway, once I play knight d e5, he plays the prophylactic move king b8. He's getting out of the logjam here. And here is where I saw g6. I got very excited because I thought I'm winning material. If he takes, I take back, I'm forking him. If he pushes, I go here, I'm forking him. And if he just simply moves like the rook, either one, to avoid these possible forks, I can just take, and it's defended. If he then trades, I trade back, and I have a very pushed pawn defended by the knight, where his bishop is out of the game. So I thought that I was borderline winning here. Yeah, borderline winning here. So I play it. I play g6. He first trades the knight. I immediately take back. I don't think this did anything. He then plays f6, and I obviously jump in, and now I'm winning my fourth. He plays rook h f8. I don't waste much time. I slightly considered not taking the material, but I was like, what am I doing here? Like, let's just grab it, right? Like, knight takes d8. He then goes rook takes d8, and we end up this position where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I'm up in the exchange. My king is quite safe. My pawns seem pretty powerful. They're not pawn islands. This is pretty pushed. Clearly white is much better here. You know, you're up the exchange, and I don't really see the compensation that black has. If anything, positionally, I think I'm even better. So, yeah, so now it's just a matter of converting. I'm actually curious about my next move, because what I saw was f4, which is very good. Okay, it's the best move in the position. Yeah, baby! Yeah, buddy! I play f4. It's the best move in the position. My idea was f4, f5. If he, takes, I get to activate, and then I'm immediately hitting the h-pawn with the idea of just making a passed pawn. And if he ignores, again, I just have these connected pawns. I also want to play f4 to prevent him from playing e5, because I thought splitting it open and activating the bish was his only hope here. Yeah, it's plus 1.8, so the game's not over, but it's looking great for me. If I can be clinical in this spot, I should win this game. f4, he plays queen d6, just trying to gun on down. I didn't think this stopped anything. I didn't think this did anything. I just didn't think this did anything. I just played f5. My idea is he can't push, because if I take, I'm opening my rook on here, and I'm actually pinning the rook, as you guys can tell, because if he moves the queen, I can just go rook takes rook. And if he takes, now I'm getting active. So, and I thought he couldn't ignore, because I just take, and then I'm able to push. And again, just walla walla bing bang. I'm just trying to make a passed pawn. So he does. He plays e takes f5. I go queen. Q takes f5. The idea is I'm hitting this. Yeah, again, if I can dislodge the h pawn, I can go h5, h6, blah blah blah. If he takes, I have a passed pawn that way. And that's kind of what I calculated. I just thought that this was game over, basically. Kai makes it slightly interesting. He plays rook e8, and when he plays rook e8, I spend 3 minutes, that's it, just calculating to see if I can take this pawn. The reason why is I calculate queen takes pawn, rook takes pawn, but then I have this move, queen check. He doesn't have a block with either piece, so he actually has to move here, and then I'm able to win the g-pawn. Once I'm able to win the g-pawn, I literally just push this pawn with the rook behind it, and it's very easy to win. I never have any back rank issues because I had both my rooks on the first row. So I thought that was a very clinical, easy win. So I wanted him to take the pawn because I thought I was losing. He then shakes his head, realizes he can't take the pawn, and he plays rook. He went to e8, and then he goes to rook g8. Does he really? Rook g8, not a good move. Yeah. No, wait, it's my move. He just played rook e8. Oh, because I play rook h8? Wait, what is going on here? We're on move 29. Sorry, not there yet. He played rook e8, and now I do take, because I thought I could take successfully. He plays queen d7. I think he was trying to, I don't know, get active, get some checks or something like that. I'm not sure. I play queen f3. I just re-centralize. My plan is just to push the pawn, and if he takes, we're going to put one of these rooks behind it and literally just push it to Valhalla. I thought that was the simplest way to win. He plays queen a4. He's trying to... I don't know what he's trying to do with that move. So I just play h5. I'm just sticking to my plan. He plays rook e6. Not sure what that move does. I follow through with h6. He plays g takes. I play g7. Again, just seems very simple. He now plays queen e8. He now goes back, stopping me from queening. For the moment, I take. My thinking is he has this check, but my rook is actually taking it away, as you guys can tell. Eventually, I'm going to play rook g1 and just make another queen. Simple as. He plays king a7. And the other move, obviously, is moving rook h8, pinning the queen, and then the game is over as well. He plays king a7. I play rook h5. This is the one spot where I actually almost messed up the game. I almost messed up the game. So turning on the computer, it's +5. Like, the game is over here, okay? The game is over here. The computer likes queen g2 best, which makes sense. Just getting behind the pawn, taking away these checks, right? I think that's good. However, I reach for my rook, and I grab it, and I'm holding on. I'm like, oh, shit. And I was going to play rook h8, thinking that I'm hitting the queen, but then realizing as soon as I held it, I was like, oh no. He can then play queen g6. I have to move my king, and then he can take this pawn. And, like, okay, is it completely winning for me anyway after that? Yes, it is. But I grabbed this piece, and I'm like, oh, God, why did I even grab this piece? I should have just moved the queen, or I should have just prophylactically moved the king to a1. And I realized rather than moving there, I can move to h5. And I thought this was still a good move, because now if he checks, I calculate I can block with my queen. If he goes takes, it's obviously very easy to win. If he, because it's down here, over here, I'm threatening the rook, so he can't even, like, take the pawn, because then he loses the rook. Obviously, he could then take this one, but then I gobble up, and it's very, very, very simple. Anyway, the point is, I salvage things, because I play rook h5. After grabbing it, and, like, it's still super winning for me. Not meaning to touch it. And then I was like, oh, shit, like, I should slow down a little bit. Because I was kind of, like, blitzing. I realized, at least while I grabbed it, that things were maybe okay for me still. He plays queen f7. Again, I don't think these moves do much. Now I go rook g1. As you guys can tell, my queen is defending my rook. He doesn't have this check. I can just block. We can trade. I'm threatening to play g8 equals queen. And, now the game is pretty simple. He plays rook e8. He's trying his best to just stop me from queening. And now I go rook h8, threatening to just take, and then push. He plays rook g8. Doesn't do anything. I trade. He takes. I play queen takes f6. He plays queen h7, check. I solve this, obviously. I go king a1. I'm completely safe. He goes queen h2, pretending like he has a mate threat, but I just, make a queen, and he resigns. Because now my rook is defended by the queen that I made. So that was the game. I'm going to very quickly do a review. I think I played pretty well, I think. Let's hope so. I'm going to then very quickly blitz through it just to see. I'm going to do the other recap today as well. We'll get this game up there. First game of the day, I played at 89%. Pretty good. All right. Not outstanding, but 89 is very good, obviously. I had been playing kind of not fantastically, so I'm pretty happy with a near 90%. I made a couple mistakes and misses, it looks like. But on the whole, 89% is very, very good. Let's get through the opening, because remember, he was better in the opening. So where do I want to start? Just the quick analysis. Wow, he's actually considerably better. It was like -1 in this position. So yeah, let's let the computer catch up for a second. 37. All right, this recap will probably be over in a few minutes. Anyway, I won my round 1 game. I think Kai played pretty well until he didn't. My opening was a little bit shoddy, but it's just because I'm not that familiar with the Albert's defense. I've obviously gotten it online. But I hope you enjoyed. So this was 1-0 at the start of the tournament, my morning game. I think I played pretty well. I'm pretty happy with that accuracy. Not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just kind of curious at this point. He then trades. He shouldn't have, and I did think that was a mistake. Shockingly, even in this position, Black is still slightly better. I really thought that I was better. Wow, and he plays the best move, Queen e7. It is the best move for him. Again, Kai's 1287, but the dude played well. Like, that's... I don't know, 82% is, like, not a bad accuracy game. Like, it's not like he's playing bad moves, just, like, hanging pieces. This is where we did turn in the engine in the, while we went through this initially, where I played queen c2. Again, I want to stop these sacrifices. Computer likes just getting the knight back in that way. I had ideas of c4, kind of bringing it in there, but, whatever. All right. Queen c2 was played, and yeah, I was worried about c5. It looks like c5 is his best chance. And the reason why is if I take, he then starts jumping with his knight, maybe? Well, I don't know if that works. Probably not, because I'm not really threatening to take, because then he can take back. And my king is a lot more exposed. Yeah, so c5 is the key move for him. However, queenside castles and black actually is still slightly better. Like, this actually is very brutal for me. Like, black is just, like, I did make the best move here, queenside castle, but black is slightly better. Again, I've said it a million times in all of the recaps, when a game is like minus .3 or plus .3, I don't really consider that an advantage. It's just, like, that's still, like, within the bounds of equality. But the point is, I'm not better here, okay? Like, that's the main takeaway here. I do play the best move. And finally, this is where, let's see, move 17, jotting it down. Kai spent 7 minutes and kind of made a bad move here. So, thank the Lord that white is finally better. If he plays c5, which is what I was worried about to an extent, then black has an advantage. Or just the very classic king b8, which I thought was a very, very clear prophylactic move. Prophylaxis. That's pretty good. Even c6, it's a little more passive, but it's still pretty good. One of those moves had to have been played. And instead, he just moves the queen, a move that just doesn't really accomplish much, and I'm able to seize it. Did I play g6 immediately? No, I don't. I played king b1. Computer likes my move. Great. G6 immediately would have been better, it looks like. But they do like this move to an extent. And he makes another bad move. Yeah, c6 is what needs to be played. Just kind of being super, super solid as black. Instead, as soon as he goes bishop b6, I knew this move was bad. 18. He spent 13 minutes in this position to play it, by the way. So yeah, and this is what I mean with a waiting move when I played king b1 against like a low-red player. They're just not sure how to like sit on their hands or slowly improve the position. And yeah, we saw this when I turned on the analysis as well. Position's crying out for c4. White is much better. I'm trying to drive a stake down his heart. I find it. He should not have played d takes, although, no, it looks like d takes is best, actually. The computer's now changing its mind. So d takes, I obviously go knight takes. Computer likes this. And his best move, he went queen b4, and that's just losing. And yeah, this is where the last 4 moves is basically where black just threw away the game. And that's what I mean with like low-rated players. Like, that's kind of the way the game goes. They'll play great for like 12, 13, 14 moves, and then they'll make a couple very inaccurate moves. I mean, I say this, not like I play great either, but like, I hope that I do this less often than they do. And I think I do, but I still do it more than 2,000, etc., etc. Anyway, he needs to play, and this is what I thought, for the record, he needs to make a retreating move, like queen f8, just getting it out of there, and then basically being able to rescue the bishop, forcing me to clarify it immediately. Instead, he gets his piece into a ton of trouble. When I find myself in times of trouble. I should have played g6 immediately, because then obviously if he takes or pushes, then I can take and his position falls apart. Yeah, and that's +3. I backwards attacked the queen first. Yeah, so I wasn't great here then. And he plays the best move. Any other move, honestly, other than queen e7, and I'm much better. I'm actually kind of curious. So I actually wasn't considering g6 in this position. I think I was also considering a3. And the computer does prefer a3 over the move that I played. Damn. Yeah, because now if he plays, for some reason, if he plays queen e7 in this position, because I have d5. Oh, and if he takes, I take, and now I'm hitting this twice, and I'm still hitting his queen. You guys can see that. And if he pushes, what's the move? d5. If he pushes, just d6. Oh, and this drives a stake in his heart, because now I'm attacking the queen. He can't move it. He can't let it loose, so he has to like rip it open. As soon as this does, boom, I have a discovery, and I am going to be winning material here. So, for example, knight takes b6. He's in check. He doesn't have time to take this back, and this is just a lost position for black. Okay, cool. Alrighty, just getting through the rest of the game real fast. 42 minutes? Okay, so what do I do here? I play d e5. Just jumping it in, try to overload. Yeah, just queen b3 apparently is good. Okay, slow move. Rook c1 even. Like, I don't have to be as aggressive. Prophylactic move. Now I hit g6. I'm a little bit slow to the party, but he trades, but I'm still just winning here. f6 was his best line. I jump in for the fork. The computer loves my move. It's a great move. He does play the best move. I don't even really consider not taking the material. Looks like the only move is to take the material. I do. And once he takes, it's +2 position. Computer likes my move f4. That's fantastic. And we can just, finish strong. I think I converted reasonably well, to be honest. Computer likes his move. Rook HE1 is the move. My move is still fine. Again, I was looking for a way to, like, takes, immediately gang up on the H-pawn and just make the pass pawn, because I thought that was the easiest way to victory. He takes, which is fine. Obviously take the queen. He attacks me, or attacks this pawn, I should say, on E3. Computer does like my move, queen takes H5. Oh, it's not the best. DE1 is better, apparently, for some reason. Now they give me an accuracy. Okay, the computer is saying he can take this pawn, but I thought if he takes on E3, really, they don't like my move. I was going to check him, and then he goes A7, and I was going to take this pawn on G7. Wow, it's not even winning. I don't know if you guys can see this, if the computer evaluation is caught up, but it's now basically... white is still an advantage, but after bishop takes D4, which is scary because you're self-pinning your queen, apparently black is holding. Only with that move, with this move. I was just going to push my pawns here. But apparently that's a big mistake. Maybe I'm, like, in trouble here. I was going to just play H5, but oh, I apparently get mated. Okay, well, then it's a good thing this didn't happen. That would be a huge blunder. Hopefully I would have been able to reevaluate that, but that's what I was going to do. In any event, I move my queen back. He moves his queen forward. I push H5. Now it's just lost. +5. Takes. G7's best. Make the pass pawn. He moves back. I go takes. The computer likes this. I go back. Yeah, and again, this move, the reason why I give it an accuracy, I literally picked up my piece and had my hand on it, and I had to salvage it and just make the best move I could once I grabbed this H6 rook. Because I wanted to play here, and then I was like, oh shit, he checks me, takes the pawn. And again, it's still winning for me, but I thought this was holding everything. He doesn't immediately attack the pawn, and I'm still threatening to just, you know, bring the pieces in. So I kind of delayed the victory by a turn or two. And now play rook G1. This makes a lot of sense, just getting ready to push it. Rook E8, rook H8, best moves. Yeah, he lets me trade rooks. Once these are traded, this is very easy. Taking his best. He tries his one check. I hide in the corner. And there's nothing really that saves him. It's +9. I'm going to be queening this. Biddy. He attacks, but it doesn't matter. I make the queen, and it's +15. Or it's actually mate 9 or mate 8. Okay, cool. And again, Kai resigns the game in this position. All right. So 1 out of 1. Can't argue that. Feeling giddy. Thank you for watching. That's round 1 of the Spring Festival, the U1850. I'm going to add this. Let's add this to game collection. Create new collection. Spring Festival. And we'll add it. Perfect. All right. Have a good one.